Hey everyone, it's Mariah Seacrest Comer here. I am your personal fitness trainer, yoga instructor, full-time day job, office worker, business owner, and I am here tonight to talk to you about why you need a mental health regimen. Now, I come to you not as a mental health expert. Of course, I just listed all the things that I do, but if you're like me and you wear a bunch of different hats and you're a business owner, chances are then you could probably benefit from some of the things that I've learned as I manage my own care, both physical and mental, and really try to take full advantage of everything that we have in our toolkits as entrepreneurs to really cultivate the best of our gifts and bring the best that we have to the table. So first of all, if you have a profile or maybe a business page that you have other entrepreneurs on and you know that they are also maxed out right now and maybe struggling a little bit to take care of themselves mentally and physically as they try to live up to all of these ambitions that they've set for themselves, if that describes anyone that you think might be following you, go ahead and click that share button to make sure that they get to take advantage of this training as well. So with that being said, let's talk about why it's important to have some type of mental health regimen. And then we're going to dive into some ideas of some things that you can do to create your own unique regimen. Well, this day and age, we have more and more and more competing for our mental resources, for our energy, for our demands, and that actually takes a biological toll on the brains. Believe it or not, the brain, as we're exposed to more, as we're stimulated to more, as we process more, as we have more and more decisions to make, that actually takes up physical energy. The brain requires more glucose, it requires more sleep, it requires more water, believe it or not, the more that we have on our plate. So mental overload is real. It's not just some ethereal, vague concept. It's a very real biological concept. So more and more this day and age is competing for that space, for competing for that valuable headspace. And I know I'm going to mess up the statistic a little bit, but since the 1980s, we are now consuming, I think the number is 5 times, it might be 7 times, 5 times at a minimum, more of the volume of content and input as we were in the 1980s. So just with the advent of social media and technology and being able to run our lives from our phones and being glued to them day and night, just since the advent of that over the past few decades, we are now consuming not just 100% more, but like 500% more types of stimulation and content and information in any given day, which means that we need to be taking care of our brains. Especially, I think this is compounded for business owners for a couple of reasons. So we not only have the presence of even more stimulation than maybe the average person, because we are wearing multiple hats, we're learning lots and lots of a wide variety of topics, especially as we're building our businesses. We may be working full-time day jobs like I do on top of that, so you're really doing double the information overload and double the pings and alerts and schedules and calendar reminders. But then that also, by necessity, kind of takes away the absence of some of those mental health care structures that might naturally be in place otherwise. For example, we might really be struggling to have the social structure that we would normally like to have, or that social support and that friend to talk to, or that social time and outlet to really regroup and reset our brains. That's kind of a luxury that sometimes entrepreneurs don't simply have. There are not that many hours in a day. So that's why I think it's extra important for entrepreneurs to have some type of mental health regimen. Now, that can mean a lot of different things. Again, I'm not a mental health expert. I'm sharing what works for me and what, as a personal fitness trainer and yoga instructor and someone who's very in tune with the relationship of the body and the mind and how it impacts our productivity and our focus, all integrates and ties in together. So lots of different ways you can construct your own mental health regimen. The most important thing is that you have some way to decompress, because your mind is the wellspring of everything that comes out of your to-do list. So everything that you bring about in your business, everything that you bring to the table in your family, in your day job if you have one, that's all impacted by the quality of the mind. So we want to make sure that we are really paying attention to this quality of our mental state. So here's some practical strategies, some things. You don't have to do them all, but here's some things that I recommend. It could be as simple as taking some meditation breaks throughout the day, starting your day with meditation. I feel like the more and more that I hear in your successful people interviewed, successful business owners and entrepreneurs, a lot of them have the habit of meditation in common. So meditation is a great tool to help keep your brain waves a little bit more balanced. There's a lot of great science. I won't get into all the science of meditation right now, but a lot of really biologically measured differences amongst the brain quality and function of people who meditate. So that's a great one to throw in right off the bat, making sure that you're setting a goal to do that at regular intervals. Maybe it's doing something creative like coloring, or if you're into crafting, taking some time just to step away from the analytical piece of your business. There's always lots of things to troubleshoot, and do something that's just creative that will start to work different areas of the brain, which we also know will actually lead to better, more creative solutions than just sitting there analyzing your to-do list. Making sure that you do have some type of support system and accountability, and this might be online. It might be right here in this group. Make sure that you're fully taking advantage of this. If you're not already part of the Elevate Entrepreneur private Facebook group, we have daily discussions there, and you can hop on over there. I'm going to tell you how in a second, but that can be a really great source of that emotional support that we talked about that maybe we don't have time to necessarily do in that traditional manner where you go out to coffee with friends all the time or have lots of people over. Maybe that's not an option for you, but making sure that you do have some type of social and support system in place can really be beneficial to maintaining that positive mental health state. Stretching at night is a great way to start to calm down the nervous system and prepare yourself for a good night's sleep, which of course is super important for having sufficient mental capacity. So that's a really great one you can throw into not only at night, you can throw it into throughout your day, just taking those small micro breaks to recharge both your brain and your body because they are so directly intertwined. Journaling is another fantastic strategy or tactic or exercise to maintain your mental health. If journaling just with a blank slate is a little bit intimidating for you, or you don't know how to get started, there are lots and lots of really great journal prompts out there that's kind of coming onto the scene. I haven't actually read it or used it, but I know Katie Dalebout, I've heard good things about hers. You could try hers. I know one of our own Elevate members is working on producing a guided template journal, so that's something you can check out hopefully in the short future. So those are all some really practical kind of exercises that you can measure, you can put in your schedule, you can know for sure if you're accomplishing it. On a little bit bigger of a picture, I also want you to really be paying careful attention to your self-talk, to having some self-talk policies in place so that you are only saying positive things to yourself. You are only speaking to yourself in the way that you would a positive, encouraging, uplifting friend. That can be a huge piece of our mental health regimen, is not allowing certain thoughts, having certain phrases that are not allowed in your brain. Making sure that you hold yourself accountable to the way that you talk to yourself. There's nothing that good that comes out of beating yourself up, of being down on yourself. That is not going to lead to a better mental state. It's not going to lead to better outcomes, but some of these more introspective habits and exercises will. Finally, one of the most important things you can do on a deeper level, more systemic level, and this is a part of my mental health regimen, is maybe you do want to find a trusted therapist who can be there to help work through some of those deeper, more underlying goals and dreams and roadblocks and challenges and ways of seeing the world that maybe we haven't worked through. So that definitely is a big picture, but very important as part of my own healthcare regimen. I definitely encourage you to find the right therapist if that's something that you would like to look into. It can take a little bit of a trial and error process. It can be a little bit scary, but oh so valuable. Your mental health is something that you definitely want to prioritize from the big picture to seeking out professional therapy. I think everyone should see a professional therapist, all the way down to making sure that we're just taking breaks now and then. For myself, building some planned breaks into my schedule is really, really helpful as well, both on a day-to-day basis as well as a quarterly basis. So after I do a big launch, I will take some time away from my business. I can't always take that away from my day job, of course, but for example, this week, I am, other than this time with you and checking with my Facebook group, I'm not doing any work because I just did a huge launch just finished up last week, and it took so much out of me for a whole month that it's now time to recharge my batteries. So I hope hearing how some of the things that I've tried for implementing a mental health care regimen have spoken to you. I'd also love to hear from you how you best take care of your mental state. If you have any comments or suggestions or tips, please drop them in the comments below. Again, this is peer-to-peer topic tonight. I want to hear what works for you. I know you can benefit from implementing some of the things that I've tried. They worked for me. And then finally, if you are wanting to go further with your self-care habits in really practical ways, because as entrepreneurs, if it doesn't get on our to-do list, it's not going to happen. So I know we've got to be strategic about it. We've got to set goals about it. And that's the only way self-care is going to happen. But it's oh so critical for really being able to maintain the pace that it takes as an entrepreneur long-term. So I'd love to invite you to find my 10 strategies for self-care specifically for entrepreneurs. And this applies whether you're working a full-time day job on top of it, or you're in the first few years of getting your business up and running and off the ground, or maybe you've been more successful in your business, but you never learned how to actually set that work aside and enjoy that success. So I would love to invite you to download my free self-care guide for entrepreneurs. You can find that at elevateselfcare.com, or if you're watching this from the Facebook page, go ahead and click on that link above this video that says sign up. You can click on the banner on top, and that will take you there. As soon as you do that, you're also going to receive an invitation to join the Elevate Entrepreneur private Facebook community that I mentioned earlier. It's a fantastic support source for you as a busy entrepreneur. We get the struggle. We know how hard it is to make time for exercise and sleep and meditation and saying good things about ourselves when we feel so frustrated or hard on ourselves. This is a group of men and women who understand that struggle and who are committed to holding each other up, recognizing that we need to be taking care of ourselves even as we're taking care of business, because everything else on our to-do list actually improves and gets better the more that we invest in ourselves. We are our business's most valuable asset. So I'd love for you to take advantage not only of that guide to kick you off, the 10 commandments that we follow as entrepreneurs who are committed to our self-care, but also then receiving that invitation to join our community. I want to invite you to do that. Again, the link is elevateselfcare.com. And of course, once you're in that private Elevate Entrepreneur Facebook community, do introduce yourself. We'd love to hear about you, about your business, and about those areas of self-care that you would love some support and accountability with. That's all for now. I'm here every Tuesday at 5:45 Mountain Standard Time, and I look forward to chatting with you. If not before that, definitely next week. Take care, everyone.